Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave and sending you some well wishes from over here in good old Helsinki, Finland as I wake up for the early morning. Getting really excited for the day because I'm going to go binge eat after this. But hey, hope everyone's doing well out there in cryptocurrency land. As always, wishing you the best of the best, the happiest of the happiest. Today's a special day because it's Sunday, so that means we're going to be talking about long-term analysis, some long-term trade ideas. Obviously, we'll cover the short-term ones as well, but a little bit of a longer video today as we get into live team right over here. Yes, as always, got to remind myself to talk about my programs. All my programs are on sale for the rest of the year, which is like one day, so you don't have too much more time. I'm not planning on having any of those sales anytime soon. The code is displayed on the screen right now, holiday 20. That applies to any payment plan, all my programs. Any payment plan on all of my programs. That's the technical analysis program, the options program, and then the jewel indicators. So just to understand, all my programs are designed for people who are, in a more serious manner of getting to actually know how to do this. I essentially made this from my own experience on how to do this on a day-to-day basis as a living, essentially. So understand that for the majority of people, this is going to be unreasonably, it's going to be too much. It's going to be overkill is what it's going to be. I have free resources on my YouTube playlist titled Introduction to Technical Analysis, and then also technical indicators and strategies. That's going to get you started. That's probably going to get most people up to the level that they want to go into. If you want to take it one step deeper, if you want to go a little bit more intense than that, then yes, this was designed for quite literally you. Also, this will get you access to, of course, our proprietary indicators, and also, more importantly, access into the hidden Discord, which is where all the members kind of get to congregate and talks amongst each other. And it's good to have a verification, for everyone kind of coming from the same sort of knowledge base. Understand also that it is a massive commitment, not just with money, but also time. Each and every one of these programs is at least 30 hours. I mean, save for the jewel indicators because it's quite literally just indicators with videos on how to use them. But hey, there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna get off that topic right now. Let's get into the live scene right over here, and let me just switch off that signal right there. There we go. Okay, so Bitcoin actually doing some in the early morning hours, and there actually is some very big things to be aware of. Typically, don't really get too many big moves on a weekend, in my experience. But this is one of the weekends where that's not going to be true, or I mean, it's already not. It's already not true. But Bitcoin has done something very interesting over here. So with yesterday's kind of red dildo party being rained over here, which is very low volume, by the way, just kind of saying. But we have rejected the 10 symbol moving average. Remember, that's kind of what I had my eye on yesterday from like a higher time frame perspective. We'll go on to the lower time frames just in a second and kind of talk about what happened there. And then also losing the yellow 21 exponential moving average as well. So a bunch of things are kind of coming into play right here. Typically speaking, and I've shared, and this is actually one of the strategies shared in that playlist, technical indicators and strategies, the red 10 symbol moving average and the yellow 21 exponential moving average, when they cross the upside right over here, that typically is a good signal. But I say very specifically in that video, when you get your first counter trend signal after a long trending move, it's typically not a good one. And this is pretty much what I was looking for confirmation for that to be negated, which is, again, I don't want to say that like, we fucking saw it coming, all this good stuff, but that is what I was looking for. So then you can go and do it yourself next time. Not to sound arrogant on my own part, but this is for you to go do on your own time. Anyways, going into lower time frames right over here and going to maybe an hourly. Come on, Bit Mexico. There we go. Okay, so now we're on Bit Mexico. This was the blue box we were looking at yesterday. We broke it later in Saturday evening for myself. Maybe it was like midday if you're over there in America. And yes, we did get those next tries to this area right over here, the 3950ish area, which this is not like perfect. Doesn't need to be perfect, but each and every one of these was a hunt. Each and every one of these was a sell. That's kind of what we were looking for as well. So that was a delicate thing of yesterday's video to kind of talk about, saying, okay, yes, I do think we're going to get another try at this area right over here, but I also think it's going to be rejected. And I think that we're going to go lower. That's what's happened. What I did get wrong, or I mean, I think I got this one wrong. I said that we did have a little bit of support right here at 30. No, I said 37 even. Okay, so I didn't get that as wrong as I thought I did. Yeah, because I said right over here. That should also be lining up with one of our fibs. Yeah, the 0.5 right over there, right around 3,700. So this doesn't necessarily. Let me actually put it in. I guess I must have deleted this for some reason. But yeah, right over here. Oh, wait, why is this guy down around here? Yeah, that one's okay. So somehow that guy got moved down. This is the one to be aware of. Yeah, so that was a 0.5. Came back down, nailed the 0.5 after breaking the blue box territory. That's essentially what I was looking for. And now what is there to do? Well, now is a little bit of waiting. Myself, I went a little bit neutral. Actually buying somewhere around, where was it? We can actually go look at it. I have an average price of 38.11 actually on these guys right over here. So basically going cash on this. Okay, yeah, that's what I did. Okay, so I went cash on basically cash on this position. I'm a little bit short on my spot, short from 6,300 and then bought a little bit right there. But what I'm short on is my 37.50 strike calls. So that's what I'm gonna be using for this because I want to manage. I want to manage my position using options for this guy. Again, if you want to learn how to do that, check out the options program. Understand that one's like very heavy duty. Please have a good understanding of technical analysis before getting into that one. It's going to just make you much more powerful, infinitely more powerful, more powerful. Anyways, back now over here. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right over here. I want to go cash in that position because I do want to be aware of this next fact. So again, another delicate thing with this, but the puzzle pieces are starting to come together as we approach the weekly digital close later tonight, and that is the CMEs right over here. Remember, they closed at 38.45. So what I'm going to be thinking here is that the next kind of pop back up into this range above 3,800, I'm going to be a seller and get out of that position right over there. I'll still have my options. I can cover them again if I want to, but as long as we're essentially below this area right over here, I do want to be net short. That's what I'm thinking, and that's kind of what I did over there. So again, that is basically going to be the next big play, and it looks like we will be probably opening up lower. Again, there's a lot of time between now and 6 p.m. at Eastern time when the CMEs open, which is actually 1 hour before the daily and weekly digital close, which we'll go over soon as well. But hey, a lot of the times that will act like a magnet for price action. So if Bitcoin does get another try back into this area right over here, maybe it takes a stab at this wick down right over here. That would be nice. That would and that's kind of what I'm looking for. If that doesn't happen, I'm happy to be cash in that position to begin with, just because I'd rather play the options. I just feel more comfortable right now. With the we're gonna be having holidays coming up. We got New Year's Eve tomorrow, I believe it is. Then New Year's Day, blah 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 blah. Kind of want to just enjoy your fucking day. So options kind of give me that leeway and give me that workaround. I just feel a lot. It just feels it's a lot easier when it comes down to it. So yes, we do have this support right over here, 3,700. Is that a big support? Well, not necessarily. It's not like a huge area either which way. Yeah, we do have the 0.5 fib coming in right around there. We probably do have some nice volume profile action coming in right around there. Come on, baby, show me the volume profile. Yep, it's right fucking there. Okay, I do remember looking at that yesterday. But overall, the big area to be aware of is this guy right here, about 3,600, kind of the former low. I mean, our former spike low. This is not like the overall low. This is our overall low right over there. But you already know that. You probably knew this one as well. I just can't get my fucking English words right. Anyways, if the 6.8 does break, if this guy does break around 3,600, then yeah, I do have my eyes kind of back on the price down around here, anywhere around 3,300, give or take a few bucks, is kind of what I'm looking for. And yes, I am leading that direction either way, as long, and again, very key point, and I really appreciate the people who get this kind of stuff and who really take a second to actually listen to what I'm about to say. But this, and you will be rewarded too. I mean most likely it's a high quality play. That's all I'm saying. If Bitcoin itself on spot is trading below where CME's closed at 38.50 at the time that CME's open at 6 p.m. Eastern time, then we're probably going to get a little bit of a rally, but that's probably going to be a sell. And then yes, I would be looking towards this area over like the next week or two, something like that is kind of what I'm thinking. Overall, what we've done, what we've really done is something like this. We've basically, it's not necessarily confirmed just yet, but very, 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 very likely to be another lower high. And look at that. What could this be creating right over here? Well, we have a nice descending resistance trend line. Even gave it a nice little love tappy tap a couple days ago. Then again yesterday, or almost right there, close enough to close enough. And what could we be creating at the bottom right over here with this lovely horizontal? Well, you just extend that down and around and work it around town. And what do you got? Well, you might have the makings of a descending triangle. Now, of course, we only have one area on the bottom. Like that's not good enough. I'm doing something that I always, make fun of other people doing, and what I'm about to, have a big piece on with the inverted fucking head and shoulders. But we we had some very similar thing going on right over here at the 6,000 level, right? So the 6,000 level, you basically had your support ledge and the breakdown zone from 6,000, 6,100 if you want to get really exact, and you had something like this going on right over here. And Bitcoin does like to play out triangles. It does like triangles. I like triangles too. I like eggs as well. But descending triangles, and symmetrical triangles I found work pretty well on Bitcoin. Flags, inverted head and shoulders, cup and handles, all the other, and then and to a lesser extent, and to more of a greater extent, all of the creature patterns, less chance to work from what I've noticed, although they, you do sometimes get it here and there. But hey, descending triangles do work out pretty damn well. So if we do pop back down, this is kind of what I'm thinking, a very similar situation what we had at the 6,000. That's kind of what 3,000 becomes like. You're going to get people getting extremely bearish when Bitcoin gets back down, around 3,400 area. You're going to get people extremely bullish. Well, just about any time. All you need is like a $100 movement and you get people really fucking bullish. But it goes into like full effect, like full obnoxious force in your face on crypto Twitter when Bitcoin rallies like the 4,000 area. But as you can see, we're just creating another lower high right over here, or very likely to be another lower high with the way that the exponentials and simples are kind of wrapping around this guy right now. I would not rule out another test. Oh, and this is so beautiful as well, and kind of just a beautiful bringing it around discussion right here. But look at the 10 simple. I would not rule out another test of that area. Where is that coming in around? 38.35. Where did CMEs close? 38.45. Again, close enough is fucking close enough. Pop back up around there. If that gets rejected, that would just be so beautiful from a technical analysis perspective, letting us know what the bots and the algorithms are programmed to do right now, and probably be the impetus for sending this thing back down to the low 3,000s. Again, I don't think it's appropriate to be full on bearish, expecting new lows until basically like 3,300 breaks. Maybe not 3,300, but like 3,250, which is not too helpful because that's pretty damn close to your prior low. Your prior low is 3,150, so it gives you about $100, $150 leeway. So again, while I am looking for overall lows, that's, this can take a long time, and I've been saying this for a while, that I really do think that this whole phase of the market cycle is probably going to take a lot longer than most people realize. Now, of course, trading is variable. It's highly variable. Anything can fucking happen. And there's certainly scenarios where Bitcoin, what if that doesn't happen? What if Bitcoin actually, pops back up above before CMEs open at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? Well, if they open up above, if spot exchanges open up above at that time in relation to where CMEs closed on Friday, then that's probably gonna be a buy on the gap fill for at least a little bit of a bounce. I don't think that happens, but hey, if that were to happen, again, you don't have to be fucking right with your opinion to make money. That's the whole point of this. Remember, my whole thing this whole weekend was just like, don't trade. So that's also kind of why I went cash around that area as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking right over there. Okay. And what we should go through these supports along the way. Now, if Bitcoin were to kind of like take off beforehand, you do have support obviously right here. This is the more relevant one right now, 3,700. As you did have a nice hunt below it, hunt below it, then hunt above this area right over here. So those are the two kind of like critical areas, so to speak. And Bitcoin to the upside has not really done anything interesting from a lower time frame perspective until you start closing hourly dildos above this area right over here, 3960ish area. And from a lower time frame perspective, really this area right over here, the 618, right around 30. Well, it's really 3600, but technically speaking, 3580ish area if you want to get like super specific, which I'm sure someone's going to yell at me about. It was actually 38.75 and 32.0012 cents. Repeating. It's like, great. And you'll notice a lot of the times I'll use numbers like and just kind of round up. I think I was referring to this area as 4,000 coming into the weekend. No, it's technically like 39.69, 39.70, whatever the fuck it is. Doesn't need to be perfect, man. And again, I never want to turn into like a signals person. I'm not a signals person. That's a whole different message from what my channel. And sorry, I'm going on like a little bit of a tirade right now because I've been getting a lot of messages about, do I have a signals group or anything like that? No, I don't. Because that's not the message that I want to spread. Again, I'm not really reliant on any income from like, I'm a trader, so that's where my income comes from, not from other sources. So I'm not interested in like selling fucking signals or whatever the fuck, because I think it's important. I have a strong philosophy that it's important to actually learn how to do things yourself. That's just going to be the better way to go about life. And yes, you might get away with it in some venues for sure. Yeah, absolutely. But overall, as like a life philosophy, it's just going to put you in a better mode. And I think if everyone in the world was just took more responsibility, the world's going to be a better place. And so that's what I really like about this channel, is that it seems to have really attracted the kind of person who is interested in learning this for themselves, is interested in learning how to basically be autonomous. Of course, we can have some good work around it, and I love talking to people about their ideas, and that's what the Discord is for. That's what the chat is for. Absolutely. And that's when we all come together. But when we're all coming from our unique perspectives, bringing it together, that's when something really truly amazing happens. So again, I'll get off that. That's your positive message of the day. Tony Robbins over here. So yeah, lower time frames, again, support right over here, 3,700. As long as that doesn't break, probably just gonna be floating around this area. Probably does stay around this area until CME's open later tonight. Again, if it's a little bit lower than when CME's open, probably gonna be a sell on that gap fill. And then yeah, you will still have those supports on the way down, but I think that you very likely do work your way down over the next like week or two, whatever the fuck it might be. Again, time analysis it's not gonna like happen the second after that happens. I feel like some people might think that way too. To the upside, if Bitcoin were to open above where CME's closed on Friday, somewhere above 3850-ish area, somewhere over here, then probably gonna be a buying gap fill, maybe get another bounce. But again, it's very tricky taking trades to the upside, especially when you had a very obvious hunt like this. This is institutional order flow dynamics literally in your face right over there, where you get these spikes up, you get everyone bullish. You're like, oh my God, we're going to 4,000, or I mean, let's choose a number that's probably higher. 4,100, because $100 is really high for bulls. 4,100, baby, we're going all the way back to 4,100. You better wish that you bought your fucking Bitcoins. Well, no, you can see very, very quickly that these are rejected and then moves the other way. That is institutional order flow. That is when bigger accounts, that is when money movers are literally showing their hands. So the fact that we've gotten a nice markdown after that probably does work out to the downside. I am leaning downside here, but hey, again, opinion unnecessary to make money. If Bitcoin does break this area right over here, things will get a little bit more interesting. Probably does get a chance to at least hit 4,100 right over here, 4070. Again, not using the proper number, but your prior highs would certainly be in reach right over here at around 4,200. So that's that. As long as 3,600 holds over here, you're gonna have people screaming that there's an inverted head and shoulders. Let's go over this idea for a second. Let's just get this away. All right, so first things first. It's not a fucking head and shoulders. I know I had a title yesterday saying Bitcoin's inverted head and shoulders reversal. I understand that. It's just YouTube. And I don't feel good about that, but it's good for YouTube. And I do apologize about it. It's probably fucking annoying for the people who are more educated and understand that that's like not what I'm saying to begin with. Or maybe you have a good laugh about it like me sometimes too, because it is kind of funny. But yeah, this is not inverted head and shoulders. The neckline is wrong. Okay, so first off, your shape is wrong. Second, your volume characteristics are wrong. Third is when you're playing a pattern, and this goes for any sort of pattern trader. If you're going to play a pattern, you need to wait for it to be fully set in place first. There's like a meme now on all the crypto, social media venues where like you'll get like one piece of the puzzle and you'll be like, that looks like a left shoulder. Okay, so we're going to go here. All right, so we're going to go down over here, make a head. Okay, pop back up over here. Okay, that's the other neck. And then we pop down over here. That's your right shoulder. Okay, and then wave 5 to the fucking moon, baby. It's like, okay, what the fuck? No, you can't do that. It's way too much. It's very, very silly, and it looks sexy. It looks cool. It looks sleek when you post an idea on TradingView, and people love bullish things. Whenever I put a bullish title, it goes way better than a bearish title. Just as my own experiment. And when it comes down to it, that is not how that's in my experience. No fucking professional uses Elliott Wave. I don't know a single person who's made like tens of millions of dollars, has it in the bank secured using Elliott Wave over at least 10 years, but really what I'm looking for is like 20 to 30 years. You know, when you're going that far out in advance, it looks sexy again, but in practice, that's kind of what I have to say about that. Too many fucking rants. I'm sorry about that, guys. I really do apologize. I'm sure someone's gonna tell me how they never mind, how they hate my foul language. Well, again, it's not intended to offend, man. It's not intended to offend. I understand that it is annoying. People want like more professional language, but it's, you know, there's no such thing as professional in here, man. Even on the floor of New York Stock Exchange Arca, everyone like, the Wolf of Wall Street isn't too far off. I'll put it that way, man. I'll put it that way. You know, the language would shock you. What happens next will shock you. So anyways, all these things are wrong about a potential inverted head and shoulders. So I just wanted to quickly speak on that, but I think the full hopium will be gone if you take out this guy right over here, 3,600, and that'll lead to some panic. That'll lead to some, you know, probably some major stops being hit. And I would imagine that would give some good impetus. That would give some good liquidity for a nice drive down to your prior low area. You know, getting stuck in that muddy territory, as we make the analogy. Similar to the 6,000 area is what I look for at the 3,000 area. Probably not going to take a year long, but probably going to take some time. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So again, just wanted to get that out of the way. As I know everyone's fucking talking about that. We do have potential for something else, though. There is potential for something like this. If Bitcoin were to shoot down below below its current low, perhaps it could be making something like this, a descending Brownian wedge, which is actually typically a bullishly resolved pattern. But as you can see, it could make another lower low, and if it does take another stab down here, I mean, you know, it's rapidly declining. So it depends when you'd like actually hit it, but assuming it'd be like you know, a week or two out. Again, I'm just throwing out numbers here. I don't believe that, but you know, it would rapidly descend to like the mid 2000s pretty quick. So again, just quickly showing that that's kind of the other scenario that I'm looking at if Bitcoin were to just shoot past its prior lows. But again, I think that we're probably going to spend some time, you know, doing lower high, come back to 3,000, lower high, coming back to 3,000, lower high, coming, you get the idea. Similar thing to over here, because it's so good from a psychological perspective. It really fucks with people. People hate dealing with time, and people hate dealing with consolidation because they feel like nothing's happened, and that also makes it feel like whenever you get a little bit of a move, it feels like something major's happened. How many people were calling for moon on this guy right over here? I mean, let alone this guy right over here. It's like, no, put in perspective. You have a lot of work to do before you start talking about moon after that kind of shit. Just another lower high. So it takes less and less. And it's a very good way for bigger accounts to kind of, you know, engineer liquidity for themselves by basically getting people bullish when they should be bearish and getting people bearish when they should be bullish. Because it does work both ways. But yes, at some point I do believe that this does break down. Okay, so we didn't really talk about the oscillators or anything like that. Let's go over that just really quick. We did talk about the exponentials. I do like that. Oh, by the way, on the exponential side, we'll get to that a little bit later. We'll get to that when we start talking about long-term stuff. All right, so RSI over here. RSI did give you bearish divergence, also did give you hidden bearish divergence on this point and this point. We're just seeing that play out now. Typically, when you do get hidden bearish divergence, it will pop back down and test, like, you know, the lower region of the bearish control zone somewhere around here. Doesn't always mean that has to happen, but typically it does. And you know, this is on a daily dildo time frame. Your exponentials are agreeing with you. Your Stokes over here, your daily Stokes, are pointed down as well with plenty of room to go. And also, what is the Jewel telling you? Jewel is telling you consolidation over like a long period of time, or not a long period of time, but in this whole phase. That one's going to give you the trends, not necessarily like the full-on, not necessarily the consolidation on this time frame. It will on the lower time frames. DMI is telling you the same thing as well. So I like that those two things agree, and those two things have been really fucking good at catching big trends. Let's go down to the 8 hour. 8 hour over here. You know, same sort of thing on basically everything right now. You know, not really, just kind of telling you that we're consolidating, a little bit more of a bearish consolidation. 4 hour is not giving you a signal. I want to see the ADX start pointing up, but it's not. 4-hour RSI, just trying to, still, kind of testing or trying to test the exponential right over here. I'd imagine that'd be met with a move to like 38.30, something like that, to fill the gap as well. And so far, still below that area and in the bearish control zone. And yeah, so I think that kind of covers it up for that. 4-hour Stokes over here getting rejected from the more critical zone and straight down after that. I think that kind of covers that. Again, the lower time frames over the weekend is not going to be too damn helpful, but we will be ending it pretty damn soon. By the way, we also spoke about this yesterday as well. The 200 exponential on the 4-hour dildo time frame, that was likely to be a big resistance, and that's essentially where your sellers were. Again, during the weekends, the higher levels do hold weight. But the lower, like people trying to trade a 30-minute, like good fucking luck, man. You're gonna pull out all your hair before the weekend ends, or at least that's what I've done when I try to trade that time frame. Over a weekend. During the week, it's a different story. You can definitely do it during the week, but over the weekend, too many hunts, and then just boring sideways. So let's go check out GBTC. Again, GBTC is actually already doing what I'm looking for on Bitcoin, and essentially, let's do this guy right out over here. You have kind of like a support trend line down around here. GBTC popping back down all the way to there and rallying off of it. And GBTC has been a great leading indicator for Bitcoin. So essentially it is, in the process of doing something like this, basically put in a nice support trend line, or sorry, a nice support ledge at $3.87.25 right over here. And then a nice descending trend line right over here, creating some lower highs along the way. So I'm kind of looking for another rally back into this area, over the next week or two, or whatever it might be. Remember, we're going to be starting the new year soon, or like literally in a day. So there you go. And right now, yeah, it doesn't look good right now. But again, I'd still be waiting for this area to break officially right over here. This is not going to be a good one to be jumping the gun on. That's all I say about that. By the same token, as long as you're kind of creating lower highs on this guy right over here, well, again, just kind of perhaps another descending triangle. We will be able to make a measured move off that. In fact, let's take a few liberties here. And again, this is not something you should do, but I'm gonna do it. But I'm gonna basically make an assumption here. I'm gonna make an assumption just and see if it lines up with anything else, because we're going to now get into the long-term idea discussion. And if we are making a descending triangle right over here, well, you can make a measure move upon that now, can't you? And apply that to whatever the breakdown could be right over here, and let's just see where that would point all the way down towards. Okay, so low 2000s, or... Well, did I get that right is a real question. Let me make sure I got this right, because I do have something around that area, but not quite there. Okay, so first things first, let's make sure that we line it up with this guy. Okay, cool. And we'll go like this. Okay, so let's see if this one works. Again, doesn't need to be perfect, but I'm curious. Yeah, pointing down towards 2,300. Okay, so that's very interesting. That's incredibly interesting. So let's get into the long-term idea. So I do believe that Bitcoin does go lower. Again, I am long-term bullish on Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin gets to some really crazy numbers before people get scared about what I'm about to say. But the next big area of support that I'm looking at is this blue box territory right over here. Where is that coming in around? Actually, 2,300 to 2,600, where that measure move would be pointing. Again, that is a very, 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 very prototype thing that I just did there. It's not like I would not be going off that at all. We don't really have that in yet. We don't really have it. We can't just have one step at the bottom to have a descending triangle. It doesn't fucking work like that. Technically we have two, but I want to see three. I want to see at least three. That'd make me a lot more confident. Then this becomes a lot more likely. But also at this 2,300 level, we have the 886 Fibonacci retracement. That is actually where you did bottom in 2014. Just saying, right over here, nice spike low. So a potential area to actually be going towards. Now we actually have a measure move going around there. And if we put on the volume profile, we should have some nice, look at these, some nice high volume nodes coming in right around here as well. By the way, a higher volume node than what you did at the 6,000 level. Remember how much time Bitcoin spent around there. So that should be interesting. Bitcoin, I would imagine that at the very least, this would be an incredible bounce, and probably, sorry, I shouldn't say probably, but a potential reversal point. Now, of course, Anything can happen. Could we go lower? Certainly we could, but I'd treat this area as potential reversal zone, for those reasons. So again, multiple things coming around that area. We have the 886 Fibonacci retracement. We have the volume profile showing some high volume nodes. We have some nice horizontal trend lines coming from some historical areas back around here. And now finally, we actually do have a measured move pointing us down there potentially. Again, I shouldn't even mention that, but I do believe that if we go over here to the BLX index, perhaps let's see if we put on one of the ancient. Let's put on an ancient EMA. This is coming from my days as in the stock market. So yeah, if we put on the 377. That actually comes around a little bit below 2600, so that would round out the top of the box now, wouldn't it? Very, very interesting. So I do like that. Now I'm going to take this guy off, but I now am very interested in that area. So I do see a lot of potential for that area. Can Bitcoin go lower? Well, of course, anything can fucking happen. But, from a technical analysis perspective, I'm always going to treat, it one thing at a time. Okay, I just realized, though, to really get this right, we should probably talk about why we likely haven't seen the bottom just yet. Well, we should talk about what I'm looking for. No, what I'm looking for first, then why we haven't seen the bottom, and then where this is likely to go, and then long-term type shit. Okay, Jesus fucking Christ, man. All right, so first things first. What I also do like about this current support area is that the 200 simple moving average, this red line right over here, is is going to start to hook around and provide support around there. So we could very easily have a couple of bounces on this guy for a while. But overall, okay, so first things first, there's three big things that I'm looking for to be more open, or not more open, but to declaring the bear market over, meaning that I'm looking for like long-term long positions. And when I say long-term, I mean like long fucking term, like, years potentially. Of course, anything can happen. You do have to remain flexible, but potentially years. Okay, so first things first, I want to see a higher high on the daily. We haven't done that in, well, over a year. Over a fucking year. So again, the trend is your friend until the end of the trend, and the daily is still down. It's been down for quite some time. So above your prior high of 4,300 right over here, that would look good to me. That would be good. Also, the second thing, and that's not the most important thing. The second thing is pretty damn important, though. And this one really is where I start to change my mind. But if the weekly can both open and close above this purple 200 exponential moving average right over here at 4150-ish area, that would be a key. That would be a huge key for me. Of course, it won't be able to do it this week, or it won't be able to do it this week. Unless if it rallies above 4,100 before end of week, it might have a chance to do it next week. Although that doesn't look too likely right now. But hey, anything is fucking possible. But probably very unlikely. I'd say very unlikely right now. But hey, until we have a weekly dildo that both opens and closes above the 200 exponential moving average right over here, don't really want to be entertaining ideas that the bear market's over. And then the third and final and most important, but I think that we'd know probably before this area, but this would be like the final nail in the coffin. If Bitcoin could get back above the 6,000 area right over here, the area of essentially consolidation for a year and breakdown, well, that to me, from a more traditional stance, would say, okay, you've done it, and I'm looking for long-term longs, and essentially what I'm looking at. So, I mean, just look at how beautifully the 200 exponential has been holding this price action back. A very nice governing factor for this guy right now. So yeah, okay, back on to, okay, so yes, we just spoke about what I'm looking for to declare the bear market's over. Now, why the bottom is very unlikely to be in. This is not a bottom of a market cycle right over here. First things first, in lower time frames, this is a very corrective price action where you're still making lower highs. The volume is falling off as you chug along. It's actually a very orderly drop off in volume. Look at this. You could put well, it's not going to make too much sense on this chart because there's already too many lines, but let's go to a fresh chart right over here. Let's take everything off. And you have a very orderly drop off in volume as you kind of, start getting stuck in the mud. Look at the volume over here. You can even make kind of like a trend line on it. Not that that's like the best way to do it. Fuck, my neck scratches, man. I have too much hair. I have too much fucking hair, man. But again, this is corrective price action. What it looks like to me, likely to be resolved to the downside. Now, on top of that, why has the bottom not been put in? Well, okay, so this is not what a market cycle bottom looks like. This is not capitulation, and this is and there's multiple reasons why. First things first, volume is not good enough for capitulation. What I'm looking for from a volume perspective on capitulation is I want to see something similar to what you did in your parabolic cycle right over here. As you can see over here, this is much less. Now, you have a great example in 2014 right over here where you have a very similar volume signature to what you had over here in your parabolic cycle. And also when you actually get boosted up into your bull market cycle, by the way, that'll be a good marker as well, because after capitulation, you don't just go into straight bull territory. You go to accumulation. That's also why I'm not interested in any sort of like immediate position or like buying the capitulation low. It's more potential pain that it could be worth. I'm interested in buying uptrends mainly. Okay, so volume is not good enough, and this becomes abundantly clear when you look at volume measured in dollars traded, not coins traded, because this is Bitcoin dollar. We can actually look at the dollar volume over here, which is going to be severely different. Yeah, you can see it right over here. Look at what you did, over the beginning of, the beginning of 2018 compared to what you did over here. It's fucking nothing, man. This is literally like 87% less. And this is all red, by the way, on the big spike right over here. This is all red dildo right here. So to understand this, people have just gotten this idea from Investopedia or fucking Baby Pips or whatever, or just echo chambers on crypto Twitter that capitulation looks like big red volume and then you go up. Well, no, big red volume means the trend is pretty fucking strong and likely to continue. When you have big green volume, perhaps, that's when things could actually turn around. You could actually put a bottom in, because what essentially is capitulation? It's basically when people are, forced out of their positions essentially due to an emotional feeling of despair and hopelessness, and then some sort of a big account comes in and buys all of their blood, buys all their fear, and puts in the floor, essentially, never returning to that level ever again, or so they hope. So yeah, okay. So the volume's not good enough, right? The volume's not good. Also, the time spent at the low is not good either. We have something very, very bad around here. We have 4 days spent at this low within like a percent of the low down around here. 1, 2, 3, 4 days down here. And that, in my experience, is not fucking consistent with how market cycle lows go in any trading asset, whether it's Magic Internet Money, Forex, commodities, or what's the other one? Equities. Yeah, the one that I fucking trade. Jesus Christ, man! I thought that I already said it, I suppose. But again, you've actually seen an example of capitulation, or what capitulation could be like. This was obviously not the market cycle low, but this is what it would look. This is what it would look and feel like right over here when Bitcoin shot down from, what was this, like 12,000 to 6,000, literally losing 50% in the span of what was really a couple days, because these are 4-hour dildos right over here. It gave you 4 hours before. I mean, in one 4-hour period, it rallied literally 10.5%. By the end of the day, it rallied up 40.5%. Okay, let's go over here. Here's another great example as well. At the beginning of the year, again, not a market cycle low right over here, but it did give you the same sort of thing where you come down from 20,000 to like 10,000 right over here on this spike low. That's a 50% fucking loss. 5,000 of this was done in one day, by the way. That's just insane. But within a 4-hour period, literally a 4-hour period, you rallied up 25%. By the way, that's more than Bitcoin's rallied off of its lows in the last 2 weeks. Given 2 weeks, in 4 hours, it did 25%. 4 fucking hours. 4 hours, 25%. What the fuck? So again, by the end of the day, you rallied up what, like 40%? So that's what it can look like. Again, it doesn't need to be exactly that same sort of percentage, but if we go over here to perhaps the daily, it's going to be, or maybe the weekly is better. In a week, not just 1 week, but 2 weeks, 2 fucking weeks off the lows, Bitcoin has rallied and maintained literally less than 20% right now, but from dildo body to dildo body, about 26%. Not fucking good. Not good enough. There's also a great example over here from your actual spike low in 2015, where again it gave you like 4 hours to buy the actual low. I guess we can go there. It might be worth it to show it on a video like this, because oh man, I need to go back to the day. All right, so let's go back now over here. Do this really quick. But again, another good one, January 14th of 2015. So we put on like a 3-hour, maybe that'll get it. And then where's my go-to? Sorry, my phone is hiding it. Let me just Okay, let's do this guy right over here. Where is it? Oh, there it is. My bad. Sorry about that. Okay, so go to, and we want January 14th of 2015. Okay, January 4. Someone else told me how to do this as well. January. Okay, so 14 Jan 01. This is American style. 01 14. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, so here it is, right over here. Right over here. And this was the market cycle low. This was the last like literal market cycle low technically in 2015. Someone got me on that one as well. But look at this right over here. In 1 4-hour period, you rally up 10%. 10%. By the end of the day, you rally up, some like right over here, like 30%. Again, more than Bitcoin did in given 2 weeks in this past prior action. So again, hey, this is not right. This is not right. This is in 2018. All right, so I just completely fucked that up. Oh well. Yeah. Do we want to scroll all the way back? We'll scroll all the way back. Just fuck it, man. Just do it. Stop complaining. Just do it, baby. Just fucking do it. Alrighty, so we'll get there in just a second, guys. I do apologize about this. I should have done this before. I know people have been telling me how to do this as well easier. As well people have been telling me how to like do my green screen, which I actually really do appreciate. I really do appreciate any sort of comment that actually helps improve the quality of this stream. I'm very, very serious about that. Oh my god, we literally have just enough information to get all the way back here to it. Wow. How lucky we are. So we actually won't have access to this for forever. But okay, so you're probably thinking, okay, Krown, you idiot, you fucking moron. There's 2 weeks very close to each other back around here. So they did give you multiple chances to buy the bottom. Nope. That is literally 6.5% off the lows right there. That's nowhere near. In this full day, you rallied up about 42%. And within like the first 6 hours, you rallied up 25%. So again, put into context right over here, this is not necessarily what I'm looking for. So those 3 things are all miss. We don't have the volume that I'm looking for. We don't have a good percentage gain. It doesn't need to be exactly like that. It just needs to be similar to it. And then we also don't have the time spent at the low as well. It's too much. So all three of those are miss. Let's go to something that's external right over here. Let's go to the MVT signal. Again, this is divorced from anything that we look at with price charts and all that good stuff. And this is essentially the network value divided by the daily transaction value and then interpolated using forward backward moving average to create a smooth line. All right. What the fuck does that mean? Nobody knows, but it creates an oscillator that calls tops and bottoms in Bitcoin's history, and it's called every single one perfectly. So basically, anytime that Bitcoin gets above where my curve currently is right now, it calls market cycle top, and then after that, it goes like at least to where my curve currently is now, or a little bit lower, and calls the bottom. As you can see, we are nowhere near that level right now. In fact, given the last week, we actually ticked up quite a bit, so there is some juice to go down. There's plenty of room to go down. Okay, the next thing, and a very important thing as well, and I will be monitoring this incredibly closely when it actually does happen, is something called volatility. So we're going to bring up the historical volatility rank right over here. And again, credit to my man Ballypour over there, because massive thank you for showing me this. I didn't know that I had access to it beforehand, because I thought that I could just get in like regular stocks, but you can actually get information for this on cryptos. I'll make this a little bit more visible because well, you can't fucking see that, and neither can I. And so it'd be better to actually have it right around here. Let's make it nice and thick AF. And there we go. Okay, so if you're not familiar with volatility, I'm gonna get the Oxford Dictionary definition would be something like, it's related to the standard deviations away from like the mean price action for returns over a given amount of time. That's probably not too helpful. What I can say that's maybe a little bit more helpful is essentially higher volatility suggests that at that price point, you have more potential gains. Lower volatility suggests, the opposite. So a higher absolute value of volatility suggests typically market cycles tops and bottoms in traditional markets. In fact, it's incredibly good at calling them in traditional markets. Over here, I'm on the daily, and I brought up the BLX index, which has the most price action history. As you can see on this last spike down to 3,000, we got all the way to 0.7374, whatever the fuck this is, it looks really, really high right over here. Let's put it into context though. Oh shit. Oh fuck. This is December. This is the spike low in February. These are both ones right over here. So telling you that there's some serious fucking opportunity right around there. These were tops, or sorry, this was a top. This was a bottom. Or was this the top right over here? I don't know. But you can see that whenever you spike up to this one level right over here, it's correlated with incredibly volatile price action, calling some pretty hefty lows or pretty hefty highs. In your capitulation of 2014, look at this right over here, massive spike on this guy right over here. In fact, even staying right around that one area for a little bit of time. So again, let's go to another one. You got the spike high right over here on this. Look at this spike high right over here. Putting this nice high. Boom, big one right over here as well. Getting into anytime that you're in the nines, it's big. So again, that's kind of what I have my eyes on, and something that I do want to be aware of. And I am looking for something like that when Bitcoin actually does get down to those more crazier levels. So more crazier levels. Great fucking English, Krown. Wow, just highlight your amazing English skills. Sorry. Apologies about that, guys. English teachers absolutely hated me, by the way. I don't know what it was, but each and every one of my English teachers growing up, they just bullied me. It was fucked up, man. Imagine being bullied by a fucking granny. Anyways, it's fucked up, dude. Okay, so we talked about that. Okay, so that's why I don't believe that the bottom's being put in yet, why we probably have lower to go. Please keep in mind, though, I always want to say, and I always want to repeat that, hey, doesn't mean I'm not bullish long term. I am bullish long term. In fact, to prove my bullishness long term, I'm going to be buying Elsa the biggest pair of titties when Bitcoin gets to 20,000, and I fucking promise that. I do promise that. So I want that. I really, really want that, but it's probably going to take a long time. So hopefully she's not 100 before that happens, because that would, it's what's the fucking point? But she's behind me right now, and she does not have a happy face. But she fucking wants it. She wants it too. Isn't that right? Yes. Do you want to say that to Mike? No. No? Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you guys heard that then. It's very, very triumphant. Anyways, this is very cute. Anyways, but in the lower time frames, yes, I do believe that Bitcoin has some lower lows to make. And next big point that I want to repeat as well, it's probably going to take some time. These things can take some time. Just like at the 6,000 level, I was saying, yeah, we probably go lower, but it's not really appropriate to be talking about until you actually break 6,000. Well, again, there you go. Okay, so we talked about that. Also, I just want to quickly mention that the 200 simple and 200 exponential on the daily dollar time frame are now well below that 6,000 point. So that's putting more and more pressure on price action. So understand that the more time that Bitcoin spends below 6,000, the critical breakdown point, critical consolidation for pretty much all of 2018, and then breakdown point leading us into this next more intense phase. That is that is going to put more intense pressure on price action, and suggest that we spend more time below here, as that's just it's just more resistances crawling their way down below, and some pretty powerful ones at that. Not only that, but here we actually have something very interesting as well, and I forgot to bring this up, but I suppose this is not the worst place to bring it up as well. We have the 3-day dildo death cross, which has only happened one other time in Bitcoin's history, actually right over here in 2014. Now remember, a 3-day dildo death cross needs a lot of history to kind of go off of, but you had just enough in 2014 to get one, and you had the test of the 21 exponential right over here, the yellow line. Boom, yeah, you have the death cross right over here. You have the test of the 21, kind of you can call that, and then you're sent on to your red dildo capitulation death hole right over there. Now, just because that first move sent you to your capitulation death in 2014 doesn't mean that you're only going to get one move in 2018. In fact, because we have more mature charts now, they're all grown up. They've had about 10 years to mature. Well, it's actually probably going to take a little bit longer, but you have the classic play right over here. You put in a little bit of bullish divergence on your 3-day dollar time frame right over here. Yep, you pop back up and test your 21, or just barely test your 21, not quite there, but this does count. That is a rejection of it right there, and you get the 3-day dollar death cross all in confluence with each other. I really like that, because it's telling me that the bots and the algorithms are on the sell side of this. Let's put on the 10 simple moving average and see where he's coming in around. I want to see where he is in relation to the 21, and yes, it is below, and price action is trying to hang on. The second that price action loses this guy right over here, that's probably going to be your next move back down to the low 3,000s. So again, and these are divergent away from each other, by the way. So all of these things kind of coming into confluence with each other are suggesting that the trend, yes, is intensifying to the downside, and the bots and the algorithms are respecting it. So that's very important to me. And yes, again, I think that this can take some time at the 3,000 level, between 3,000 and low 4,000, something like that. People calling for 5,000. I don't see it. I don't see it. I actually just don't see it. Again, that's an opinion thing though. My opinion can be fucking wrong all day long, man. It can be wrong all day long. It doesn't matter. If Bitcoin gets back above its prior high of like 4,250, 4,300, whatever it might be, then that's certainly in the cards, and probably a possibility, which we're gonna get into in just a second right now. Okay, so now let's get into like the future analysis, which I want to start the discussion with. Okay. This is really fun stuff to do. I don't put too much weight on it, but it is fun to look at. So, and this is also, actually, we're first going to talk about where this is likely to, or potential bottoming areas, and then we'll get into that. So first things first. All right. So we spoke about all about that. All right, so let's put this guy back on over here. I'm going to bring you into the matrix. All right, the matrix of power, the matrix of opportunity. Yeah, there we go. I like that. All right, so each and every one of these dotted trend lines represents a support trend line of a parabolic market cycle in Bitcoin's history. And you'll see a little bit of a trend here. Now, in this first market cycle in 2010 and 2011, the support trend line was broken in this in 2012 right over here, and that becomes the highs of your parabolic market cycles in 2013 and 2014 right over here. Then you create another support trend line for that market cycle going right over here and right over here. It gets broken in 2015, becomes a parabolic high in your 2017, 2018 market cycle right over here. Now we've created another support trend line going right over here for our current market cycle. That was broken right over here on the same dildo that actually shoved us down below the 200 exponential on the first try, or sorry, on the first time. This dotted trend line was kind of retested on this dildo right over here and rejected. Does that become the highs of our next market cycles going forwards from here? Perhaps it does. And as you can see, you can actually go forwards in time now and say, all right, so if you do go out to like 20, or sorry, let's do 2020 first. Then the high of this guy would be, or the governing factor of this guy could potentially be about 13,500, something like that. If you go out to, but this is rising rapidly, so don't fucking hate me just yet. Then if we go to like 2020, we just did 2020. Let's go to 2021. If you go to 2021 over here, the high of this guy right over here, now it's 37,000. Now that's Elsa's getting new titties. Then if we go to, that's titty time. And then if you go to 2022 over here, right over here, it's all the way at 90,000. So again, this is what I mean by things can take a long time. But there is a way forwards potentially. Again, I don't put too much weight on this, but you do actually have a kind of almost a trend of this going on. You need three times to make a trend. We only have really 2 times so far, but there is something to be interested about this. Now, let's talk about where this thing, we spoke a little bit earlier about where this thing could bottom. Let's actually round that just out this discussion, because there is a few things to be aware of right over here. Now you can see that I do have another dotted trend line down around here. This is a potential one. I don't have too much. This is just an idea based off of a few things. Your spike low right over here, your market cycle low of 2015 right over here, maybe creating this guy and perhaps putting in the lows of our 2018 market cycle, just like just like the ones prior. An idea. Now notice this solid diagonal trend line right over here. That is your first initial consolidation phase of 2014, where you essentially, you consolidate below it, you boost it up above it, you put in a bull trap, then you made a new, you basically put in a bull trap, so you put in a new trend line right over here, and you kind of worked your way down on this first one, basing once over here and then basing twice over here on these spikes down, and that puts in your lows. You never really broke it again. Now we have the same thing going on in 2018 as well, actually, where this first solid trend line right over here holds in the consolidation of this area, of this first area leading into, and once you break it up, you break into a bull trap right over here that creates another trend line, but the bull trap fails, gets rejected by the trend line right over there, comes down into and that's what we bounce off right over here. Not only the 200 symbol, but we bounce off this guy as well. And could it be that we get another spike down somewhere right around here and maybe put in, the actual final low like you did in 2014? Well, again, let's just play with the idea. Again, I don't put too much weight on this stuff, but it is interesting to look at. And we could actually come up with a time, right? Because when these guys intersect, that actually does, we could look at the potential timing down around here. Well, if Bitcoin were to get to that 2,300 level that we spoke about on the Bitstamp chart, which would actually be a little bit more accurately right here, just to get it properly, that could suggest a timing factor right around, mid-February. Actually, right around Valentine's Day, by the way. So interesting. If Bitcoin were to go all the way down to this dotted trend line down around here, that could suggest an April bottom in 2019. Again, I don't know how much weight I put on this, but it is interesting to look at. When we actually get a capitulation low, we will be able to fit on a dotted trend line down around here. For now, I'm just kind of going off a few things that might be right, but highly variable. By the same token, you'll notice that, remember, the next diagonal trend line right over here, that kind of that got your bull trappy area, that actually did lead into your break out of the accumulation phase right over here into your bull market cycle. Once you broke it right over here, like way later, that did lead into your bull market cycle. Well, what if we did the same thing right over here? Again, just making this assumption that whenever this trend line right over here is broken, that is when the bull market starts. Well, if you were to, maybe come down to the 2,300 level right over here and then pop up right over here, could happen, in July of 2019, where the beginning would be breaking out of 3,000, by the way, to put in perspective. It's got a lot of fucking work to do, but it would maybe suggest that. But hey, whenever Bitcoin does break back above this level right over here, wherever this descending trend line comes in around, that is of great interest to myself. Okay, so I did forget one thing right over here, talking about our earlier discussion of why I don't think that Bitcoin's going to just like shoot down immediately. I think that we're going to spend some time at the 3,000 level. If we put on the Bollinger Bands, again, not my favorite way of doing it, but it is interesting. You can see very easily that we got our first Bollinger Band closing in the inside of this lower Bollinger Band for the first time in a very long time. So that's, typically speaking, that's gonna provide some sort of like sideways action. Yeah, don't really have too much else to say about that. Typically, it will include a test of the median Bollinger Band, but I don't think it's going back there. Then again, could be wrong. Okay, so let's go to the monthly right over here before we start wrapping this bitch up. Monthly Bollinger Bands are interesting because we have both open and closed our first monthly Bollinger Band below this median Bollinger skid mark right over here. That's 20 simple moving average. Typically, when that happens, it does incite a test of the lower Bollinger Band. Not always, but typically does. We will be getting a new tick on this, in 2 days when the new year starts, and this will rapidly rise. I mean, on the last one, it rose $350. So if it does rise once again, it'll actually rise all the way up to 1,100, 1,200 area, which actually is the lower blue box that I'm looking at right over here on Bitstamp. Yeah, right over here, which is actually the 942 Fibonacci right over here. Yeah, right there. And also your former market cycle high, which is kind of like an unspoken rule that the former highs of your market cycle become the lows of your next market cycle. Anyways, I think that's what I want to talk about there. Oh yeah, let's look at the exponentials on this guy as well. That's much more important to me. And then we'll kind of wrap this bitch up. Okay, so EMAs and MAs right over here. Yeah. 100 exponential on, by the way, 100 exponential on the monthly is coming in right around the 2,300 level, 2,400 level as well. So again, a lot of things pointing in that 23 to 2,600 range. I have a very strong eye on that right now. Could it be that Bitcoin closes a hammer dildo above the green 55 exponential right over here? Again, 2 days to go. I guess we'll find out together pretty damn soon. Find out next time on fucking Dragon Ball Z. So that's just something that it's going to be in hindsight that we're going to look at. But if Bitcoin fails to hold the green 55 exponential right over here, we're going to be heading down to new lows sooner rather than later. I'll put it that way. If it fails to, then we can maybe discuss if it does close above, then probably some more sideways, I'd imagine. All right, we'll quickly go over traditional markets as that's opening up for the week as well. Kind of same thing on traditional markets. You know, you put in a nice low right over here. You hit the mesh move off this head and shoulders top right over here. I mean, we'd been talking about this for like months prior. Bull trap right over here. Death cross on the daily. Blah 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 blah. Coming all the way down around here. Everyone's getting really bearish on this guy right now. The time to be bearish was over here, not over here. You are right at resistance, but I do think over the next month, going off the monthly right over here, the next big trade probably sometime in January is if this thing gets anywhere around the 21 exponential, around like 260-ish area. I'd look to be a seller, but again, it's going to take some time, and I do think that this thing comes lower, probably down to like 210, 220-ish area right over here. Could it go lower than that? Certainly, but you know, we'll talk about it once if this area fails. You know, that should be a pretty damn big area, I'd imagine. Anyways, do we want to talk about alts right now? Not really. I mean, it's all the same thing, man. They're all the same fucking thing. They all look the same. We'll go over Mr. Buteroll really quickly because there's going to be a lot of people mad if I don't. But Mr. Buteroll right over here. Looks a little bit more healthy than Bitcoin, but put in a nice doji dildo right now as it stands on the weekly. Daily over here looks like a pair of rejections, couple of lower highs right over here, but still holding above the yellow 21, so that's not bad. You did create a higher high for this guy right over here on the daily, so I do like that. But remember, the 3-day kind of revealed it that this is rejection of the 21. You still have the death cross right over here, so that is still to be respected until told otherwise. So as long as you're below the 3-day 21 exponential moving average right on this guy, I don't like it. So I'll just kind of leave it with that. So I'm going to get back on over to Bitcoin right over here. This has been a long enough video already. Let's go take a look at the longs and shorts really quick before I go, and then we'll close it up with the lower time frames. Okay, so rates that they're paying, basically nothing for both sides, although shorts are paying a little bit less. We have about 33,000 open shorts and 29,000 open longs right over here, but people never look at the hedged ones, and we have about 6,500 hedged shorts. So really we have about a little bit under 27,000 open longs. So we actually have more. We actually have open shorts. So we really have more longs and shorts by a couple thousand, although neither is that high either which way. So just want to keep that in mind, but it does. I don't think that we're going to see like a big momentous move when both of them are like that. Typically when one is like really, really high or really, really low, you'll get a big momentous move. Anyways, to wrap up this discussion in the lower time frames right over here, again, support right around 3,700, resistance right around 3,850-ish area. Keep in mind where the CME is open. I think that's really the only trade to be making in the next, what is it, like 12 hours, whatever it might be. They open at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Weekly is closing at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as long as it closes below the 200 exponential on the weekly, still bearish in my opinion. Well, you might get your up moves here and there. That's all good, but for now, keep your eyes on that. That's what I'm looking for. If we open up below, then I'm going to be a seller. If we open up above, I'll probably be a buyer. For now, I'm pretty much just staying flat with a small options positions, which I'll be managing throughout this week. That's going to do it for me today. I'll be signing off now. Look forward to see you guys soon. Again, all the programs only on sale for one more day, so I just want to make sure that the people who are interested in them have this information, because again, there's not going to be any more sales. I don't have anything planned or anything like that anytime soon. So again, I hope this one finds you well. Hope that you're praying to whatever God today. Hopefully goat Jesus, because he's the one and true and only God that loves you very, very dearly. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care.